Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the Livernois Motorsports MyCalibrator Touch Tuner fitting 2021 and newer 5-liter F-150s. Maximize your Coyote-powered F-150's output with this tuning module from Livernois Motorsports. This is a full-feature tuner that comes with 2 different tunes designed to increase power and improve drivability, plus you get the flexibility to manipulate other features on your truck to make for a better overall driving experience and some additional fun. Before we go any further though, let's talk about dyno numbers. Now we ran our 2021 5-liter F-150 behind me on the dyno here with 93 octane fuel in the tank. Now we also did our runs in 4th gear, which I know is not the perfect 1-to-1 ratio, but we did that so we could get clean runs all the way to redline without running into our dyno speed limiter. So in stock form, our truck laid down 355 horsepower at 6,800 RPM and 358 pound-feet of torque at 4,400 RPM. After adding the performance tune from the Livernois module, we ran the truck again and saw 358 horsepower at 7,000 RPM and 369 pound-feet of torque at 4,300 RPM, giving us peak gains of 3 horsepower and 11 pound-feet of torque. Now that may not sound like a whole lot, but those numbers definitely do not tell the entire story. If you take a look at the graph here, we saw consistent gains all the way through the rev range. Even more interestingly, this tune automatically upped the truck's redline to just shy of 7,500 RPM. Now in our after runs, we did hit the rev limiter, which I can tell you was quite a good time. Curve gains were also very consistent all the way through, and the biggest gain we saw in the curve was down low, where we saw as much as 32 horsepower and a very impressive 68 pound-feet of torque. Now the Coyote V8 is wound pretty tightly from the factory, and given that our truck is otherwise stock, I have to say I'm pretty impressed with these results. Even on the roller, I was able to feel the truck revving out more and hitting harder right when I dropped the hammer to start the runs. Now this tune helps you maximize the low end gains and gave us some more room to run the truck out in gear as well, plus it kept a nice smooth curve all the way through for both horsepower and torque. So it does exactly what Livernois says, it increases power and improves drivability. Livernois Motorsports specializes in late model domestics, and they're well known for their work on both EcoBoost and Coyote powered Fords. Now you've got the power and the expertise in the palm of your hand. The MyCalibrator Touch comes with 2 tunes for your truck. One for maximum performance, which is the one we tested, and one that is more tow oriented. Again, we use that performance tune for our dyno runs to get the big numbers, but there's a lot more to the story here than just those numbers. Livernois has taken care not to just turn up the wick with these tunes, they also set out to improve drivability, which we did see in our results. The tunes also improve throttle response as well as shifting at both partial and wide open throttle. There's modified fan settings to reduce heat soak, revised stop-start system logic, and removal of the skip gear function in the transmission with reduced torque management and increased shift firmness. So the engine is going to respond better and make more power while operating at the proper temperature, and your transmission will be more responsive as well, all without any of the annoying stuff. And we felt that even just here on the dyno. Now your speed limiter and your rev limiter both get increased as well, and you can choose from different octane levels when you send out your information to get your tunes, and that's going to depend on which grade of fuel you prefer to run in your truck. Everything also works with the different drive modes, so functionality of your truck remains completely intact. This all adds up to a greatly improved experience behind the wheel, and instead of feeling that the truck is just unruly, these tunes are meant to feel like it came this way right off the showroom floor. Now you also do have the option to purchase custom tunes from Livernois, and buying the unit means that you get access to all future updates and revisions of the software. Like many other tuners, this unit also has the ability to read and clear diagnostic trouble codes, so if you do happen to get a check engine light at some point, you can figure out what's causing it and eliminate the code without having to make a trip to the auto parts store or to the dealer. But this module also has something we don't see in other tuners, and that is access to further service functions. So if you need to do something like, say, a crank relearn or a transmission computer relearn, or look further into other diagnostics, you can do that right here in the unit. The MyCalibrator Touch is a pretty slick little device. It's a full-color 5-inch touchscreen, and it's pretty easy to navigate. Just touch to select what you want and hit the back button to return to the previous menu. And if you're going to have a touchscreen, especially something that is rather small like this, intuitiveness is exactly what you want for a good user experience. The screen is clear and bright, and this is also designed to be mounted up on the windshield to be used for data monitoring as well. But you're getting a lot of well-vetted engineering baked in here, in addition to more power and a better driving experience, plus the option to change some stuff around and do some data logging as well. And if you want all that in an easy-to-use application, the MyCalibrator Touch has got you covered. Installation gets a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and it should take you about 1 hour to get it plugged in and get your truck programmed. Now you're gonna spend a little bit of time getting it loaded up. You're also gonna have to go ahead and plug things into the computer to get your new tunes written and get your stock tunes sent back over to Livernois for a backup. So that is gonna take a little bit of extra time. It is also worth noting that the unit does come shipped totally blank. So when you get it, you'll have to plug it in, get your information from the truck, like your ECU strategy code, and send it to Livernois so they can write the tunes for you. But turnaround is quite quick. You should have it back in a couple of business days at most. And then once you get it back, get everything loaded up, you can plug it into the truck, and it's a pretty straightforward process. So with that, let's hop on over to the truck and we'll walk you through it. All right, everybody, we are here now installing the Livernois MyCalibrator Touch on our 2021 F-150. So before we actually get things tuned up on the truck, we gotta do a couple of things. First, we gotta go inside the truck, plug this guy in using our OBD2 port, and get it into programming mode. Then we gotta go back under the hood, plug in an adapter cable, and save our stock tune. Once we've got that done, we'll download the new tune from Livernois, which we've already got set up and ready to go on our computer. We'll get it downloaded onto here, load it onto the truck, run it on the dyno, and see what happens. So for right now, let's hop in the truck. We'll plug this into the OBD2 port, get it into programming mode, and then we'll start the rest of the install. All right, now we're inside the truck. We're gonna get this sucker plugged in. So on the back here, you see you've got a port that looks much like an Ethernet port. So this end of the cable is gonna plug in right there. Only goes one way. Once we've got that done, we'll plug this in, the other end of the cable, to the OBD2 port right here under the dash, and then the unit will power up. Now that our module is plugged in and powered up, we're gonna go ahead and turn the ignition on without starting the engine of the truck. Let it go through its bongs. Now that we've got that through, we're gonna go into module info. Again, turn ignition on, don't start it. We're gonna hit continue. This is just gonna confirm that we've got everything correct. So this is your VIN number for your truck. The engine should come up correctly, and your strategy and matching code should come up as well. Keep these handy because you're gonna need them. If you haven't done so already, you're gonna need to send this information to Livernois Motorsports so they can write the tune for you. So you're gonna wanna have this information. I suggest just taking a picture of it and then go online to the form that they give you, fill out the information, they'll send you the tune back. Now again, we've already done that. We've got our tunes ready to go, so we can just keep going with this. So we're gonna go back here. Now we'll go into programming. Again, it's going to tell you turn the ignition on, do not start. This is where we're going to get this into programming mode so we can jump under the hood, save our stock tune. So we'll hit continue here. And we're going to hit save stock cal. And this is going to tell you that we need to continue using the ECU adapter cable that we have. All right, now that we've got it into programming mode, we're going to go ahead and unplug the module. We're going to power down the truck, and we're going to hop out underneath the hood so we can plug this into the ECU and get our stock calibration saved. So here we are under the hood of our 21 F-150. Now you're gonna wanna make sure that you've got all of your cables and everything ready to go with your calibrator unit as well. So we're gonna have to do a couple of things here. First and foremost, make sure that your battery is in good condition. We have ours hooked up to a battery tender because we're doing a bunch of different things at once out here on this truck. So make sure that your battery's in good condition because you're gonna need all 12 of those volts the entire time, and the truck is gonna be basically running off battery power for the entirety of this. On that note, make sure that the truck is turned off before you come out here. Give it a few seconds to put itself to sleep. And now we're gonna go over to these connectors right here on the ECU. So there are 3 of them. These are pretty easy to undo. They just have little locking tabs, and then you pull these paddles. Now we're gonna work from the inside out, starting with this one. So we'll push the little locking tab in. This one is arguably the most difficult because it's harder to see. Then we'll pull the gray tab up here, and then this should just come right out. Don't force these. You don't have to put a whole lot of force on them. Again, we're gonna do the same thing here, pressing the locking tab here, pull the big gray tab, and then this will come out, and we'll just move these out of the way. And we get to our last one, same thing, push the tab, pull that, and pull it right out and set it out of the way. Now these are the ones that we're gonna need. Now this is the one that we're gonna need to access to because this is our vehicle harness. Second one is the engine. Third one is the transmission. So again, we're going right to the vehicle harness. So we're going to take our adapter cable here from Livernois Motorsports, and we're going to put this in exactly the same orientation that we took the other one out with. So again, you're just going to push that. You should be able to feel it, and push that locking gray tab down. You'll hear it click into place, so make sure the connection is good. And then we'll go ahead and connect some of the other stuff up. Next, we're going to hook up our power adapter. So this is only going to plug in one way. We'll pull the cap off here. And these just plug in just like that. Make sure that's nice and solid. Then we'll take our battery clamps. We got one positive, one negative, of course. We'll go right under here to our positive terminal. Make sure that's got a nice connection. Do the same thing over here on the negative terminal. Now we've got access to our OBD2 port. It's the same thing that's under the dash basically. So we're going to take that side of the connector here, plug that in. You might hear some modules clicking. Don't worry, that's very normal. And then we're going to take our actual calibrator unit, and just like we did inside, going to plug in that Ethernet looking cable right in the back like that, and the unit should power up. Now that we have everything plugged in and fired up, we're going to go back into that programming menu. It's going to ask if we're connected to the ECU with the LME adapter cable, which we are. So we're going to hit continue here. And we're going to go ahead and save our stock calibration. So it's really important here, once this process starts, don't touch anything. Don't turn the truck on, don't open the doors, don't mess with anything we have plugged in. Just let it go and do its thing. So this is going to save our stock calibration. Once we've got that done, we'll go ahead and plug this into the computer. We're going to save the stock calibration. Once we've got this done, we'll go ahead and plug it into the computer. We're going to save our stock calibration on the device, as well as send it to Livernois for backup. So if something were to happen, we have a backup file with them to get the truck back running and set to stock. Once it's plugged into, we've got that done, we'll also download our new tune on here, and we'll come back to the truck, plug things in, and get it fired up. And then we'll see what kind of power this thing makes. Whee. Look at you go. Yo. Look at you go. That progress bar does not match the note. Now that we've got that saved, it's asking us to turn the key off for 3 seconds. Obviously, we can't do that because the truck is turned off already. So what we're going to do is unhook the negative battery terminal. So we're going to undo this. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and we'll reconnect it. Let it fire back up. We can go back into the programming menu, hit continue because we are connected. And there we go. Our stock calibration is now saved. So what we're going to do is unplug this. We're going to go over to the computer, download our new performance calibration, and send the stock calibration over to Livernois for backup. We'll come back to the truck then, get the new tune loaded up onto the truck. So we went ahead and plugged in our calibrator to the computer. Now it will automatically upload your stock tune to Livernois, and it will also automatically download the new tunes once you've got those done. So again, we already had them done, so it downloaded them and sent our stock tune back to them for backup. So we should be ready to go here back at the truck. So we're going to take it and again, just plug it back in using that Ethernet light cable in the back, let it power itself up, and we'll go ahead and load on the tune. Now we're back to the main menu here, so we can go ahead and start programming the truck. So we'll go back to that programming menu. It asks again if we're connected to the ECU, which we still are. We haven't undone that yet. So we'll hit continue. Now up here, we see 2 options. So we have return to stock on the bottom here, and we have our performance calibrations up top. We're of course interested in tuning it, so we're going to hit the performance calibrations. And you see that we have 2. We have an 8793 octane towing, and we have the performance tune. Now we want to see what kind of power we can make with this thing, so we're going to go for the performance tune. It's going to ask you if you want to continue. Of course, we hit yes. And now it's going to go ahead and write the tune to the truck. Again, it's really important here that once you get this started, don't touch anything, let it do its thing. All right, now this is finished writing the tune to the engine, so we have to key off for 3 seconds. Just like we did earlier, we're just going to disconnect the negative battery clamp for 3 seconds, put it back on, let the unit power itself up, and we should be ready to go. All right, now our tune is done being written to the engine, so again, we have to key off for 3 seconds. So we're going to do the same thing we did earlier, which is just disconnect that negative battery clamp for 3 seconds, put it back on, check everything, and then we should be ready to go. So we'll undo that. 1, 2, 3. Put it back on and let this power itself back up. Okay, now that we've got our tune done and everything is set to go, what we're going to do is unplug all of this, get our connectors back into the ECU, make sure the truck fires up, and then we'll go in and show you a little bit more of what this thing can do on the inside of the truck. So I'm just going to unplug the OBD2 cable right here, set our tuner module aside. We'll come back over here, undo the power cable, unplug that, and then the same thing we did earlier, just in reverse. So again, I'm going to push down that little locking tab, pull the paddle out, and just work that loose. Again, you won't need any type of force to do that, really. Now we're going to connect our ECU connectors back up. We're just going to do that in the reverse order that we took them off. So we'll start with this one on the outside. Again, get them lined up. You should feel it kind of click into place, and just use the paddle to secure it. Again, you really don't need any force to do this. If you have to force it, it's not aligned properly, so don't do that. Just like that. And our last one right over here, same thing. Make sure those are all nice and secure. We've got everything back and ready to go. So let's hop into the truck and we'll show you some of the other features of the MyCalibrator Touch unit. All right, now that we have everything set back to the way it was before, we're gonna take our unit with the OBD2 cable, we're gonna hop in the truck and show you some of the other features of the MyCalibrator Touch unit. Before we do that though, I wanna make a note that returning the truck back to stock is absolutely possible. Of course, again, we saved our stock calibration. It's just gonna be the exact same process. You're just gonna hit that return to stock option in the programming menu under the hood when you do all that. So again, be the same process, just hit return to stock instead of the performance calibration. So with that, let's hop in the truck and show you some of the other things this little unit can do. All right, now we are back inside the truck with this plugged into the OBD2 port, just like we did earlier. So there's a couple other things that I want to show you on this unit. First up is the diagnostics and tools section. So we click that. Again, we've got our truck powered on, but the engine is not running, and we are connected via the OBD2 cable. So we'll hit continue here. So we're gonna have to power cycle this. So we're gonna have to turn the truck off. Give it a second to shut itself down. And we'll turn it back on. So the device requires a power cycle to continue, so we're gonna just unplug it here. Give it a couple seconds. And then we'll plug it right back in. This is gonna take it out of that calibrating mode that we had it in earlier, which is what we did the first time we were in the truck. All right, so back to the main menu here, we hit diagnostics and tools, and now we see the menu. So you've got a couple things that you can do here. Read and clear diagnostic trouble codes. So if we go in there, it's gonna connect. It's gonna show that we luckily do not have any codes. So we can go back. If we had any, we could go in here and clear it. Back in this menu, the next one down is service function. So if we touch that, it's gonna give us a bunch of different options here, including your keep alive memory, crank relearn, your key on engine on, and your key on engine off, and your key on engine running, plus transmission relearn, CDP, and a bunch of other things here. So just as an example, we've got the key on, the engine is off. So if we hit key on engine off, this is just gonna run a test through some of the systems and see if there are any trouble codes. You'll hear some modules clicking, fan's gonna kick on, and here we have test complete, no codes. This is sort of a unique option on the Livernois MyCalibrator. It's not something we see on a ton of other tuning modules, but it's nice to have that. So if you need to do any kind of relearning, if the truck's acting funny, you get a bad tank of gas, you can use that keep alive memory, the crank relearn right there, and get things set back to what they were originally, what the factory would have programmed it in. So it'll reset all the adaptive learning, which can be handy if you're driving your truck differently, again, if you've got the tune on or anything else. So if we go back to this menu in the vehicle diagnostics section, we also have the tire and gear adjust. So we have 373 gears in our truck. If we are going to change that, we can hit continue here. We can change that. We're not actually going to change it because, again, our truck is otherwise completely stock. So we're just going to go back. And it's just taking itself out of programming mode. So once the bongs go away, we'll go back here, and we have a couple of other things too. You have your module info and your about device plus settings, which you can change the brightness. And we also have the data logging section. So here you can go into data log. You can start or stop recording. You can select different data log files if you have any. So this is really helpful if you want to get a custom tune done. You can have a set of different data logs from different drives, if you're towing, if you're running it out on the track, or if like you're doing what we're doing here, running it on a dyno, you can save all that information and send it to your tuner. Going back here, we also have the gauges selection, so you can hear, and you've got a bunch of different things that you can show on here. So let's just say airflow, and we don't have boost on this truck, so we're going to do the mass airflow sensor. You can select a bunch of different things on here as well. You can do spark, let's say spark 1. You'll have to have the truck running in order for these things to show up, but you can select a bunch of different things, calibrate it, and you can also have this show up on your and you can also have this set up on your dashboard, so if you want to see things while you're driving, you can see a lot more information than just what the dashboard will show you. So again, that pretty much runs us through all the functions of the Livernois MyCalibrator Touch. That wraps it up here for our review, install, and dyno test of the Livernois Motorsports MyCalibrator Touch Tuner fitting 2021 and newer 5-liter F-150s. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, for all things F-150, be sure to keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.